All right. Wagwan family. Once again, we managed to organize another soccer family get together. So I'm the guy with some of the questions here, M, and we got a cast of characters. They are, to talk about some ball. So first up, we got Bazzi. Bazzi, say what's going on to the people. You're mute, Bazzi.
Good evening,
We
people.
just
Hope
talked about
everybody's
this.
doing well.
All right, guys, and then next up we got B. B, say what's going on.
Hey, what's up, people? I'm back again for another one.
There you go. That's That's B. That's B. And then this is a rare event, a rare occurrence for me to have both B and KG on at the same time. But KG's here with us. KG, say what's up to the people.
What's going on? What's going on, fans, followers, friends, family?
All right, so let's jump into a little bit of Bundesliga, guys. So that's pretty much the only league that we've got the opportunity to watch so far, and honestly, it's really not that entertaining. But it's ball, it's what you got to do. B, the Bundesliga is over. It just started, but the Bundesliga is over. Thanks to Bayern Munich, and their good show of form. Do you think Bayern is that good, or is the league just
Um, I would say I think it's more both. I think Bayern is that good, right? But I think the league is not bad, but Bayern is just a little bit ahead of everyone. But I also think people's perception of the league, especially right now, will be a lot worse than what it is because most of us fans are more geared towards watching the Premiership. That's one. And two, the fact that there's no fans in the stadium, it sort of dampens the atmosphere of the quality of the games and just familiarity with the players and with the teams. All of those things contribute to us being less entertained as we would if it was would have been in England.
so? Alo, B is touching on a point here. He mentioned that there is no fans in the stadium. There's been some, I guess, allegations. I don't know for sure, but in America, we are getting the feed of crowd background, like the noise that's actually coming from the stadium, which is not real. But in other
Mhm.
countries, I think in Spain, in Germany, Italy, if I'm not mistaken, are actually just getting the regular feed. Why do you think that? Like, why do you think that is the impact of the fans?
Um, well, what's funny is I think the Norwegian league just kicked off, and they had something pretty cool where they had the fans from home, and those guys they spent like the last month building the system to where the fans from home they had the screen around the stadium, so everybody was like watch all the fans will be watching the game. It's pretty cool. B, did you see that? Yeah, so it's
Yes,
like
yes.
the idea
It's
is,
like a
ev-
Zoom system. Everything
yeah,
I think
everybody's being
everything is on
creative,
Zoom.
know.
Yeah, they're just trying to create an atmosphere. And
Hmm.
it's the same like for example in Germany for not all of the games, for especially for the Bayern Dortmund game. What they did, you realize they got they got the I guess they have pre-recorded fan noise.
Hmm.
So with that, that sort of and if the quality of the game is high, it sort of makes you forget that fans is not in the stadium because you watch you're hearing the noise like the fans is actually there. So that has an
Hmm.
impact on you because before you came in with a preconceived idea that there's no fans in the stadium, so the game is going to hearing the noise, you're hearing the drums and all this stuff. It's sort of a little bit for me.
brings a deal in the sport itself. So the fact that we even though we don't see them, because when I'm watching the game, I'm not focusing on what the fans are saying. Like I just want something to kind of stimulate my senses. It's just the fact that why are they doing it with America and then in other parts of the in other parts of the country, like in other parts of the world. You know what I mean? That's a little bit weird to me. So uh so B I said B. KG,
What's
I
going
know
on?
you're a man of. I know you're not a man of. I know you're not a man of many words, but the thoughts on the Bundesliga. You used the word when we were before we started recording. You used the word trash. Do you think that the Bundesliga really is such?
I feel like I don't. Trash is maybe a strong word. Um, I just don't think that the level of play and the quality of player is on par with even um, Italy, for to be honest. Like their lower level teams are far more technically are far more technical. I feel like, and far more well versed than what we're seeing at the bottom of the Bundesliga. I think commercially, like they have such an opportunity at hand, right? And it's the only thing that football fans have to watch right now. And what do you think? What do you think that they've done with this time? Like with the product that they put out, is this something that they're going to be super happy about? You know what I mean? Like, do you think that they've capitalized on the opportunity that they've had right now?
Well, they're still gaining fans. You know what I mean? Like the fact that there's nothing else for us to watch, then they are doing something right. So even in America, they had for the NWSL, the NWSL Challenge Cup. Like that's the women's league. I'm sure they're going to be gaining fans just because the fact that they're the first. I think they're opening June 27th. So they're the first teams in America, like the first sporting event that's going to be open in America. They have a lot of sponsors going in for them. So the Bundesliga is not as good as the Premier League right now, but I do see where there are a lot of players that have potential. You know, a
I
lot of
mean,
Bundesliga.
but my point is, you're an avid soccer follower, right? Like you follow it like every week. And the fact that that's the only soccer that there is to watch, and you're an avid soccer fan, like, and you're not even excited about the Bundesliga. That goes like that. What does that tell you for the average fan, for the person who's maybe a casual follower? If it can't keep your attention,
So you're right. I don't like the Bundesliga is not so.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
say
B.
something, please? Yeah. The thing with that is, one, I think it's unfair for us to judge the Bundesliga right now, right? Why I say it's unfair, because those of like it's gonna probably take them 4 games for them to get into condition, right? Because the players are not in full condition. So we judging them right now, it's it's not fair because the players are still not up to the pace, and the fact that there is no fans in the stadium, and we are not as familiar with the players and the teams, and we don't have that connection with the teams as we would in England. All of those things contribute to our perception of the league and of the quality of the play, because you can say the same thing about Spain, because if we're watching the Spanish league, you can say, well, the games are boring because most of the team play the exact same way as Barcelona or Real Madrid, and they're not as good as Barcelona or Real Madrid, right? So that's what I think. I just think it's unfair for us to judge them right now. I, and that's any football fan, they're going to watch because it's football. There's nothing else to watch. And a person who's an avid football fan, this is probably not the right time for them to watch football, because this is not going to be a good representation of football. But it's not because of the quality of the league. is because of the other things that contribute to the other thing that contributed to it. I just think the other things have such a big impact, and that's going to impact the quality of the league.
So the expectation that you okay. What you're saying is that when the Premier League opens, right, we should give them a pass in the first couple of weeks because they're just coming out of quarantine and we need to understand that the quality of the no, there's no excuses.
Listen,
I don't I
listen.
see
Let
what
me
you're
tell you
trying to
something.
say
Let me
here
tell you
with the
something.
quality of play,
Let me,
but if
let me.
you
Can I
know,
say?
okay,
Can I say something?
I'm coaching, and I'm coaching my team now, and I'm like, look, guys, things are starting to open up now, so we're doing virtual training, and I'm making sure that my kids sweat. They knew that things were gonna open up now, so there's no need for you to be cramping up, or there's no need for you to not be at your physical peak, knowing that the entire world will be watching you for the next 30
Listen, guys. Here's the thing. This is how I feel. It's I 100% agree with Bernard because it's with what's going on in Germany, you have to give them a pass. Matter of fact, we have to give everybody a pass because if the expectation for the Premier League is going to be like that, then we're going to be disappointed a lot because you have to put into consideration with what's going on, man. At the end of the day, everybody's human. They still got that stuff in their head of what's going on. The play, the way how you play, the style of play, the game, everything about the game is going to be different regardless. Everything about the quality wise, everything is not going to be the same. I'll guarantee you that. So if you're going to have a high expectation, like the Premier League is back, it's going to be like back in the day, Saturday, Sundays when we're watching games, and guys, it's not going to be like that. So we have to find a way to be humble enough to understand what's going on. Now back
So
to Germany. If you never
so
watched the Bundesliga before and you watch it now, like B is saying, it's not a good representation. But you have to keep in mind of what's going on because if you watch the games, it's very one-sided, only from the top teams. You know what I mean? So like when Bayern is playing, when Dortmund is playing, those games are like one-sided because they just have more quality, they have better players, and they're just all around better teams. So of course they're going to dominate. They're going to dominate. When City kicks off, it's going to be the same way. You know what I mean? Teams that are better are going to play better. But at the end of the day, you have to give them a pass. You have to give them a pass because the
KG,
situation.
I'm concerned, KG. You're doing a sinister laugh. Why is that?
no, I just think it's funny because it's like on one hand you can say that the performance, everybody, the lack of performance is due to the quarantine, but then you look at Dortmund and you look at Byron and they don't have any. They're performing up to par. Like I don't
But
understand.
Kevin, what are you
Like
saying?
they both went through the same quarantine.
Exactly.
like, that's what I'm saying. So,
Maybe
why
we're
don't they?
watching two
Why are they
different
not
games.
suffering the
Maybe
same
we're
level
watching two
of
different games.
a drop in performance?
B,
You must
you
watch
wanna
because if
All
if you
right.
feel like
Go ahead, Bozzy. Go ahead.
if you feel like this is the same Bayern before the quarantine, then you're crazy. Because that's why I say you're not watching. If you watch the game before, even though they're beating Team 6-0, they're not the same. They're not playing the same way.
okay.
Did you watch?
My
Did you
Okay.
watch? Did you guys watch any
All right.
Bayern games before the break?
Hold on. Go ahead, B. I
Before
need
the
you to
quarantine, did you watch
get
any
you.
Bayern?
So
Yes, I did.
my
Yes, I did. I watched Bayern. I watched Bayern give Tottenham. I think it was
No, no, no,
seven
no, no.
home
Not
away
Bayern
game.
in the Champions League. Bayern in the league.
Yes, I
Did you
did say
watch
I did
Bayern in the
watch Bayern in the league. Yes, once or twice. It was not as much as the Premier League, I admit, but I did watch Bayern in the league. Yes, I watched Bayern. I
once
used
a
to watch Bayern, Munich, Leverkusen, Dortmund because I wanted to know who Sancho was, and Werder Bremen, the guy with the guy with the light skinned dude with the little dreads flowing. Like I know about that team. So you're telling me now that Lewandowski is not performing up to par,
No,
and
no, no, no. Now
you're
you take it to
so
individual performances. Now you're going. We're speaking about that.
let
Listen,
me rephrase what you said. You said that even though they score, and even though they're scoring six, and even though they're playing games and giving teams five, because they
M.
feel like it, they're no longer the Bayern of old.
Listen. I'm
No,
telling.
okay, wait. Let me get it.
Let me explain myself. Let me explain myself. Since the quarantine, the buying games, because I've had no choice but to watch them. I've watched them before, but during the quarantine, there's no ball, so we watch them. And if you watch them consistently before, how they're playing in the back, right now, Bayern, let me tell you who's flying. Alfonso Davis, Lewandowski, Sancho. Like everything that they're doing is different because you see there's 5 substitutions now in the game. So that changes the dynamic of the situation of how you play. Sancho, if you realize that for the first 2 games, he was coming in the second half. So if you look at the way they play, certain players that are coming in today, Marcel Smelser played today. He never plays. You got to understand, it's not the same team. Even they're beating people because they're quality team from from before. They have a quality and they're the best team in Germany. They're always going to be team. You go get those guys to go play Champions League, it's a different story. That's why I'm saying you got to understand what you're watching. They're beating everybody, but it's a different story. They're not playing the same way they were before. But it's understandable because nobody is expected to come out and be playing the same way as before. You know what I mean? It's you just have to accept that and be patient.
So B, so you're saying that you agree that hold on in February 29th, Bayern gave Hoffenheim 6-0. Okay, and then a couple weeks ago they gave Frankfurt 5-2, and then they beat Dusseldorf 5-0. How are you gonna agree that the Bayern of old is not the same? Like, what is the problem with their performance? Because you're agreeing with Bazi.
Okay, yes. All right. So even before we go to Bayern, today we watch Dortmund, right? I stopped watching the game after the first half. Now Holmes said he fell asleep, and Sancho was playing horrible. The guy was ball all the time in the first half. When the again the quality of the quality of the performance right now is not as high. But it's not because of the quality of the league. Is because of the situation, what's going on. Sancho, if you as what Bazi said, the guy was coming off the bench because the guy was unfit. And that's just one play. Bayern right now is playing with 4 outside backs in their team. The only good game I've seen is Bayern against Dortmund. Bayern has the outside back playing in center back. Plus they have the two. Plus they have the 2 outside backs. Then their central midfielder is an outside back. The guy that scored is an outside back. That's so much. That's how good Bayern are compared to the other teams. But that doesn't mean Bayern is playing super football. But what I'm saying is it's unfair to judge them right now because there are other things that contribute to them not performing at their best. Just think about it. You think if you are out for almost 2 months, you think jogging and running on a bike and running and doing push-ups going to keep you match fit? That's not going to keep you in some condition, but you're not going to be in full soccer condition. Like it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to never happen. So they're going to need time to get in shape. And another thing, it's going to be different with the Premiership because I know you guys are going to say you're going to compare of course it's going to be different with the Premiership because we have a connection with the teams and we're more familiar with the players. So it have to be different.
KG. So uh, it's hard for us to convince Bazi and B that this is not a really good league. Like
B,
what are the positive?
but no, M. Nobody's saying that. Not B, listen. B did not say the league is a great league. I did not say the league is a great league. Nobody's here. You're not trying to convince us because we're not trying to convince you that the league is a good league. What I'm saying is that you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, for one, for what's going on. And number two, Bayern Munich, if you did not play to their par, if you think they're flying the same way, they're not. It's you said you watch
Yeah,
one game before, and they're not. They're really not. Even though
yep,
they
yeah,
beat Team 6-0, you got to watch the game to see what's going on.
yes, exactly, Martin. You're looking on the results and comparing the results from past from the past and the results right now, and trying to use that to determine if the team is performing at the same level, which is not necessarily true.
All right, KG. Let's look at let's look at the now. Zin. So the only good game, one of the only good games that I've seen in Bundesliga so far is the Dortmund Bayern game, the Klassiker, right? We didn't get a chance to talk about that last week. What stood out for you in that game? Did you see anything like Emery Chan? I don't know if it's Emery Chan or Emery Khan, but he started out a little bit slow. Like Bazi said, I think, or B said, Sanchez, he didn't really have that big of an impact. What stood out to you in that game overall?
Alfonso Davies, just he shut down everything on that side. Like I knew he was good when we watched him against Chelsea, but yeah, that kid is kind of scary. He's scary good.
So that's the only one. Okay, he was. What is he? Canadian?
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yeah, he did get a. He actually he locked down Holland. Like he shut him down. So is he one of those players that we should look out for?
I mean, he's I
Alfonso
think he's
Davis.
already there. Like he's at Bayern. You know what I mean? Like he's starting to get recognition as the best, one of the best players in the world in his position. He's lightning fast. He's did it in the Champions League against Chelsea. You saw his performance. Now he just did it. You know, against Dortmund. The guy's what 19? Alo?
I
Yeah,
think he's
19.
20,
Young
20.
kid.
Oh,
He's about
hey,
to be. He'll be 20.
Alushe. So now I know that you're the kind of guy that you're always scouting players for some weird reason. I don't know why. But do you think that he is better than so Luis Hernandez? I think he's the World Cup winning left back. He's actually currently at Bayern. Do you think Alfonso Davies was a good purchase for Bayern Munich? Like, what should they do with Luis Hernandez now? Because you have a World Cup winning left back, and then you have Alfonso Davies. That's a good problem to have.
Well, for 18 million, that's a heck of a deal. You know, they got the guy on the cheap, but he's clearly his rate has climbed definitely through his performances. What's even crazier, I don't know if you guys remember last week, Kai gave a shout out to him. That's his mentor. They played together. But what's crazy about the kid is he just started playing as a fullback. You know what I mean? So like he's still learning the position. The guy has never played that position before until he got
We
to
have
Germany.
a
They stick him in
concussion
there
like
for
the guy
5
that
years.
plays for Colorado Rapids.
Jesus Christ. Ryan, where you come from?
Oh, you guys can hear me? Signing out, lad.
All right, bro. Yeah, so Alfonso Davis, his story when he got over there, the thing about him is he's so fast, and we can all see that, you know? Speed is a heck of a thing. That's one thing that we don't touch on a lot in football. Speed is a heck of a thing, you know, and the fact that he's so fast, it makes him even better. So imagine when he develops to his full potential. Like Kevin says, it's going to be scary. But what's crazy about him also is he doesn't want to play as a fullback, you know, but that's another story. Is he going to be a winger, or is he going to listen to everybody and say, okay, I'm doing well here, I can grow and make this my own? Because he doesn't want to be a fullback. So that's going to be interesting to see where he ends up when he matures as a player. Is he going to be a winger, or is he going to be, because the guy was a winger. They bought him as a winger, and injuries happen. They put him there, and now he's there. And now. So it's very
So
interesting.
yeah, one player B. I'm not sure if you guys know about who this guy is, but Havertz. So he's actually one of the big name players for Leverkusen, and it
Bala.
was really a Sancho versus Havertz kind of show type of thing. But there's been rumors around that I think he's 20-year-old Havertz. He's a really good false nine, but I hear that Liverpool might want to take him up on that. B, what are your thoughts on Liverpool actually getting Havertz on their team?
All right, this is the thing. I If Liverpool get Havertz, it would be good for me as a fan, but I don't think Klopp as a manager would take him. Not because he's not a good player. I think I think Klopp would want to take Timo Werner more because if you realize Liverpool have the three main strikers, I think this is just me. I think they need someone else of the same quality or close to that quality that can rotate between those three strikers. The kid that you're talking about is a number 10, right? And what happened is the way how Club plays, he likes to play hard workers in midfield, a lot of industrious people, right? So that kid is not a hard worker. He's a good player, good on the ball, a lot of movement, but he's not a blue collar player. So because of that, then you're asking the manager to go against his philosophy, right? And switch things up. So that's the I don't think he'll be a good fit there. But do I think Liverpool? I think even if you win the league, I still think to buy and not any players. They need to buy at least two players of top quality because those two players inject new freshness in the team and inject that sense of hunger to the other players that's already there to keep them on their toes. So I think he's a good player, but I don't think Liverpool would be the right fit for him because of the manager.
I 100% agree with B. Yeah, I've been agreeing with B a lot tonight, man. But yeah, Kai Havertz he's a very good player. But like B said, he could be another Ozil if he goes that route. You know what I mean? Um, I think he should stay put. He's captain now at he's captain of Leverkusen. They're third. They're trying to get to Champions League. They might go to Champions League. I think he should stay another year or so and play Champions League with Leverkusen next season and see how it. Because if he comes to Liverpool this season or next season, I don't see it ending pretty well. As in him coming in, it's going to be tough.
So KG, I see you shaking your head. You don't agree that he can be another Ozil?
I don't talk about Arsenal players.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. All right. So how about this? Let's talk about the Premier League a little bit. So, considering that, considering that there's been some announcement. I think it was in this past week that the June 17th is now the date that we're looking to have a restart. KG, do you think that's too soon, or do you think it's too soon, or we should wait a little bit longer?
I think it's right about time. At this point, I feel like the COVID virus is where it is, and we kind of, I mean, people are just, I guess, over it essentially. I mean, the risk factors are still there, and I think it's gotten beyond the point where it's a public perception thing. I think we're at the point of like, all right, like we just got to deal with it and keep it moving. You know what I mean?
B, what are your thoughts on that one? You think it's too soon?
No, I think it's about the right time. But I think they also need to be very careful in terms of the compactness of the games, right? Because if the games are too compact, the players are going to get hurt, which is what we don't never want to see. We don't ever want to see the players get hurt. So that's one thing I worry about. but they have a blueprint. They have something that they could look on, which is in the Bundesliga, to mimic and to see what works over there and to see what they could use. Like, for example, I think if you watch that Bayern Dortmund game, you see that thing with that crowd noise? I think that should be at every game in England. If all the games are going to be on TV, if you're hearing the fan noise, right, that would impact the way how you view the game. Guarantee. I think that's one thing that every team should take.
And considering that even though so it's a thing that, like I said earlier, I think it's only based in America. Like other countries, they don't do it. But for me, when I'm watching the game, I don't care if they have 100 people in the stands or 1,000 people in the stands. If I can hear something that can, like, how do you say it now? Like, play on my senses, like the hearing. If I can listen to somebody, like the crowd noise, and I'm actually focusing on the actual ball and play being developed, then it's a completely different atmosphere as opposed to you just sitting at your TV screen watching something that looks like a Division 3 soccer game. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that definitely makes a change. Bazi, you have been a big advocate for making sure that everybody's lives are, make sure that everybody is safe, and making sure that if we need to scratch this league, we need to scratch this league. What are your thoughts on this now? This June 17th restart.
On this one now, I'll have to agree with Kevin. Because with what's going on in the world, it seemed like people are just like, you know, we gotta just
So you're changing face then, because
yeah, yeah.
earlier you said that, yo, forget about all this excitement. We need to make sure that everything is safe. Everything is not safe. The virus is not all the way
Listen
complete.
to what I'm saying. Okay, I said I agree with KG now in retrospect of what's going on. Meaning, at the end, people are doing what they're doing. People are gonna do what they want to do. You know what I mean? People are. I mean, think about how we're living here and what we're seeing in general. How people are just not worried about 6 feet. Everybody is literally just going about their business now. So I think that stuff is impacting the world. You know what I mean? It's impacting a lot of people saying, look, life is a risk, sadly, but we have to slowly start off. You know what I mean? Even though my idea was scratch the league, because I know that the quality is not going to be the same, the effort is, everything is not going to be the same. That's why I said scratch the league. Also, safety. But with what's going on now, we just got to deal with it. You know what I mean? We just got to deal with it and see how it goes. And I think that England is going to do what Germany is doing in regards to like the substitutions. I think that makes a lot of differences. It can go bad or good. Like personally, I I feel like that five substitution is a stretch, you know. And every team in Germany, if you've noticed, they've been using it, and everybody's using their substitution the right way. Everybody's using their squads. That's why I say, how can you guys watch the game and talk about the quality? You know what I mean? Leon Goretzka is over there in Bayern Munich, bossing the midfield. That guy don't play barely. You know what I mean? So those are the type of things you gotta look into. You gotta see.
B. So here's the thing. So your argument just now was saying how we need to make sure that the players are safe. Like, are the games too compact? Now the fact that we have five substitutions, it means that Sancho will no longer be running for 90 minutes. Sancho can now run for 80 minutes or 70 minutes because there is two extra substitutions, right? What are your thoughts on this substitution thing? The new five substitution rule.
Well, okay. Well, I in with the five substitutions, right? I think it has its negatives and positives, as with everything else. The positive is that it can prevent this because now you can spread the minutes around to others, right? But the way how the five substitution will work is that you really only have three substitution times. So I think you have like a halftime or something like they're trying to do. It's like how you can only make three substitutions. You only have three times to start the game to make the 5 substitutions, some way like that. That's one. So that's a good
And
thing in regards to the players, right? But the negative part about it is that it's going for the lesser teams, for the teams at the bottom half of the league. They're going to be at a disadvantage. Why? Because the quality of their squad is not as good as the teams at the upper half of the league. So when you are playing so many games so fast, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to rotate because I have 5 substitution. The 16th player and the 17th player on Watford is nowhere close to the guy who's 16th or 17th at Liverpool, at those clubs at the top of half of the team, because they have a better squad. So they will benefit more. Like, for example, Man City. Man City is playing and the score is 0-0. They use up all 3 substitution. And you give them another extra 2 more substitution. Do you know how much game you watch Man City when Gabriel Jesus don't get no game? And Mario get no game, and you 2 more substitutions. Like, they're going to kill people. So it works for them, for those teams. Those guys have the guy that the 19th and the 20th player on that team probably can't juggle the ball to 10. He's just there. You understand what I'm saying? So, impact those teams.
Okay, another example. Back to the Bundesliga. Last week, I think it was a Frankfurt game. They made a sub. They're doing the foolishness of the 3-4. The 4th sub, the guy comes in the game, and the commentators say, "Oh, this guy, it's his first appearance since September." You see what I'm saying? Is the guy's, and then he comes in. That's the same guy that kicked the guy and got the red card. That guy. You remember that game? Which game was that? The guy that got the red card. That guy.
I don't remember that one.
The guy's last game was September. You know what I mean? The only reason now he's playing is now there's 5 substitution and players are not fit and things are going wrong and things are different. So that's why I'm like, guys, you got to understand, it is the quality of play is just not gonna be the same. Not this time.
So KG,
In every
KG, whose fault is that? Like whose fault is that your 19th player on the bench is a player that can't juggle to 10? That's not a thing that happens in the Premier League, because they actually have players that are of value. Look at what's his name? Angel Gomez. Everybody wants Angel Gomez, and he can barely get a name for Manchester United, by the way. Manchester United. We all know the kind of state that Manchester United is in right now, but there are other teams that actually want to get him.
Don't do that, M. Everybody want Gomez. Don't do that. Everybody want Gomez. Don't do that.
Barcelona want Gomez. I wonder if Arsenal might be in that too. So I don't know what you're talking about. Let me find it.
Everybody want Gomez. Get out of here.
Everybody's trying to get. That's the quality that I see. Bazzi, I kid you not. I'm watching. I don't remember what game it was, but it was a Bundesliga game. The guy's dribbling up to the half line. No pressure. There's nothing going on. This guy like 15 yards behind, 15 yards trying to defend his own goal. The guy turned at the half line and passed the ball directly to his opponent. Like directly to his opponent. It was to his left or to his right, where he was trying to make a pass. Like he took the ball and looked the guy in the eyes and passed it. Angel Gomez will not do that. So there's no way that you guys are going to try and tell me that because of this substitution and because we now have 2 extra, all it does, it helps with the. We should probably incorporate this all the way through the season. That way, players will stay for a longer period of time and actually enjoy soccer for a little bit more.
But you're not thinking tactically. You got to think tactically. Do you know what happens when you incorporate 5 substitution in an 11-player team?
Yes, you can change 5 players.
That's a bit much, man. Think about it. When you coach in a team, why 5 subs? This is professional soccer. This is professional football. Let me rephrase. This is not
because it's professional football.
There's a reason why it's 3 subs. There's a reason why it's always been 3 subs.
Okay, what is the reason why it's always been 3 subs?
But there's a reason. And it's always been that way.
Hold on.
The
So
fact that it's changing now, it's a problem because I can see the problem. When I watch the game, that's why I gave you an example of the guy that came in and there's nothing going on. Imagine the guy hasn't played in September. It's your chance to be the man, and they put you in a game and you poop all over the field and get a red card. And you're trying to tell me that that works.
okay, so I don't know who gets injured for Arsenal all the time. So I'm just gonna throw a name out there. So like Koscielny, or
We don't
let's
have
say
Koscielny
Pepe.
anymore. Next, M, you
Say
got to be doing your homework.
Pepe. Okay, so Pepe comes to Arsenal, and
No,
in order,
God
let's
forbid.
try and
Don't do that.
let's listen, Bazi. Just listen to the hypothetical example, right? Pepe comes
Pick
in,
another player.
and okay,
I'm superstitious.
Guendouzi.
Yes.
Guendouzi does his thing, right? And he gets injured because he's been playing too many games. We've had that complaint all the time, right? What would happen if you had a healthy Guendouzi that comes off every 70 minutes if we're up 3-0, if you guys are up 2-0 or up 3-0, you can take Guendouzi off knowing that you have 5 substitutions. So if anything else happens, you now have 4. Like what's so wrong about giving 2 more substitutions to the person managing your team?
Once again, M, Bernard made the point of quality and everything. I feel like we're not in sync with what we're saying. 5 players incorporate into a game of tactics that you've already had 5 different players that were playing, different styles, different momentum. That's a lot. You're looking at it from the point of view of saying, okay, well, maybe it's a tactical change or maybe it is this. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Tactically or not, people don't use tactical changes with 3 subs. People don't got by with 3 subs. So now you
There,
have 5, and a lot of teams are using 5. Like I literally feel like I'm watching a different game. I've watched the Bundesliga when they've made 5 subs, and as soon as those 5 subs come in, I turn the TV off. It's that
Alo,
simple.
uh, KG, if you had an opportunity to substitute, you don't have to use all 5 subs, Bazi. Like you can still use
I
your
know
regular
that,
three
but what I'm
subs.
telling you is a lot of people are going to do it because of the situation that we're in. Players are not fit. Players are not like they're going to do it. You know what I mean? They're going to use it all, but it's not going to make the game fun. It's not going to make the game. These are all the reasons why we're not seeing the quality. So that's why I'm trying to get you to understand that the quality is not going to happen because there's so many obstacles. You know what I mean?
So
So
KG, now they're blaming the quality of the Bundesliga on the fact that they have 2 more opportunities to showcase talent. Do you agree
M,
with these?
you're a politician, man. You like taking words out of people's mouth.
KG, do you agree with this statement?
No.
Kevin has 5 subs at Chelsea that he will make though. Chelsea can make 5 subs.
That's good for Chelsea, I would let them. I want them to make all 5.
Right. I don't understand. What's so wrong with having 5 like what's so wrong with it?
Okay. All right. Let me put it like this. Again, I like to go back to Man City because Man City got quality for days, right? Normally, Man, these are the players of Man. You have Gabriel Jesus, right? Let's say you have Riyad Mahrez on the bench, right? Let's say you have who else is on that team? You have Leroy Sané right now, who hasn't been playing because he was hurt, right? Then you have other midfielders, like you have Gundogan, you have center backs, you have John Stones, they have outside back. Those guys, let's say they made the 3 substitutions, right? Then no, you give a team like that an additional 2 substitutions. The game is tied. Or they go put on for their 4th substitution, they go put on a Leroy Sané or a Riyad Mahrez. At one point, those guys wasn't getting no game, right? Tell me the 16 player M that plays for Sheffield, or the 16 player that plays for Burnley, or the 16 player that plays for Norwich or for West Brom.
Hold on. Let me ask
Wait.
Siri.
Don't
Let me ask Siri.
let's make it fair. Tell me the 12th player that plays for Burnley.
Hey
You get what
Siri.
I'm saying?
Hey Siri. What is the 12th player?
I don't think Siri knows. They won't even
That's
be
what
able
we're
to
saying.
help you.
So it helps the players in terms of their conditioning, right? And it helps them in terms of their safety, which is good, which we all want. But it's also a disadvantage to the teams that squad is not big enough in terms of quality, right? Because when Man United plays and Mata is not Mata wasn't a part of the three subs. Mata wasn't a part, but Mata is still top quality player. So can you imagine Man United is tying a game and in the 88th minute, everyone is tired. You go put on a one Mata as the fourth or the fifth sub. The possibility of you scoring is a lot higher than you have only.
So one, well,
Well,
yeah, that's a good point,
hold
D.
on. I got a counter argument to that. So it also benefits the smaller teams too, right? Because let's say you're up one goal, and in the 85th minute, all of your midfield are tired. You can just bring in a whole new midfield and a new defender to defend for the last 10 minutes, right? So it kind
First
of
leg.
Yeah,
it goes both ways.
wait,
Like you can't just look
no,
at it from one perspective, bro.
no,
It
no,
does
it
go
doesn't.
both ways.
No,
It
it doesn't.
does.
No, because wait, the mere fact that they're a small, so the fact that they're a small team, one, the quality of their team is a little bit less than the quality of a big team. And if the quality is already less, right? And then it's someone that's already on the bench. So that means they are a little bit worse than the guy that's starting. And the guy that started is a little bit less than the quality of the bigger team. So even if you bring on fresh legs, if tell me any team at the bottom, let them bring on fresh legs and Liverpool or Man City or Chelsea or Leicester, any one of those teams, put up Liverpool have Origi on their as their 15th striker. Origi basically helped Liverpool win the Champions League. And he doesn't play most of the games. So if they have five sub and you have someone like that, it doesn't matter who the teams that who Aston Villa brings on. Who even cares what Aston Villa brings on? It doesn't matter if he's fresh. He's not going to be of the same quality compared to a Liverpool because Liverpool have better players.
That's
It's not
that's why
even.
I disagree because again, let's look at this from let's give a specific example, right? So you ask Pep Guardiola, he's playing against Burnley. He's away at Burnley. They're down 1-0 in the 75th minute. If you ask Pep Guardiola, would he rather have no substitute if he had five substitutions and Burnley had five substitutions? Ask him which one would he want. You're
Pep
on
would
mute.
want the Pep would want the five substitutions. But
And
would Burnley want
you don't think that and so you don't think that Sean Dice would also want the five substitutions the way that they play?
because why? Because
Huh?
if Burnley have five, no,
You don't think that he
because
would want those five substitutions?
why? Because if
No.
Burnley have five substitutions, if Burnley have five substitutions, that means Pep have five substitutions. And which one of those two teams have a better squad? If we look on the quality of those two teams, tell me the player that is the 15th ranked player at Burnley.
I don't know. I can't even name Burnley starting 11. So how am I gonna name their 15th ranked player?
Okay, but don't you see you're making my point for me? If you can't name their starting 11, Leroy Sané is probably the 15th player at Manchester City. And
Doesn't matter
so
how
that
many
means
It doesn't matter how many Leroy Sané's you have because, like you said, if you're losing, there's a reason why you're on the bench anyway. So if you were that good, you would have been playing as it would have been, right? You wouldn't have been on the bench to begin with. So by the
Kevin,
nature of your argument, you're defeating your own argument because
Kevin,
you're saying
no,
that
that
you're
does
saying no. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay,
I'll let you talk.
sorry. My mistake. Go ahead.
So you're saying the nature of your argument is that by the fact that the player's on the bench, he's not as good as the player that's on the field, right? So when you bring in a new player, like although he may be good, he's still not as good as the dude that's playing. So what difference is he really going to be able to make more than the guy who's already on the bench?
The player on the team, the player on the Manchester City, even though he's on the bench, he's better than the player. Some of the players at Manchester City on the bench is better than the players that start at Burnley.
But they're already in that disposition anyway. So they're no more or less in that disposition than they were before the game started.
Kevin, you know how much good top quality players at Barcelona sitting on the bench rotten till you don't know that they're good anymore? That is, and you can, bro, you can take Barcelona team that's on the bench, and those guys can compete in the La Liga. Check the Manchester City team. Gabriel Jesus, that player can probably start for any other team except with the exception of 2 or 3 in the Premiership, and he's a bench player. So my point is the teams at the top, that's why they're at the top. They have a bigger squad because they play more competitive games and more top quality games compared to the teams at the bottom. They don't play in the Champions League, so they don't need as big a squad with a top level quality. They just need a good 14 or 15 at most. For a big team, you have to have 2 players in every position. That's what when a big team is in top quality, they have 2 good players in every position. You have 2 good top quality. I don't remember what game it was. I think it was a few years ago. I'm watching Arsenal play, right? I'm watching Arsenal play, and the team that they're playing against in the FA Cup, they had a goalkeeper that bought a sandwich. The guy bought a sandwich before the game, and they have him in the newspaper eating a sandwich. That shows you that is an example that reflects the importance that those guys to the game compared to the reserve goalkeeper Arsenal or the reserve goalkeeper at another club. That's all I'm saying. The quality of the teams at the top is way better than the quality of the teams at the bottom. So them an opportunity, they're going to benefit more from it than the teams at the bottom. Their 15, 16, or 17 player are probably not good enough to play with me on Sundays.
So B, we're focusing on. I see you guys are really focused on Man City, and we're focused on Liverpool and Leicester and you know, like all the top name teams in the Premier League. But for some reason, we haven't really mentioned Newcastle. You know, so Newcastle is one team that they have an imminent takeover. They're basically the ones that are, you know, a big name in the news top stories. Newcastle takeover headlines. You know, they're trying to get Rafa Benitez back. So KG, I got a quick question for you. Who do you think their first purchase should be? Just Newcastle in general. You know, we're talking about players, trying to get players to Arsenal, trying to get players all over, but Newcastle is having a little setback right now. Who do you think they should be the first purchase for them, and why?
They need either I don't know. That's always a tough one, man. I think they need a very senior leader. Like maybe I think you know who might be a good purchase for them.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
No, Gary Cahill. I think Gary Cahill would be a good purchase for them. I think he's the type of because he's won everything. He's an English. Well, no, he's a. Why is he laughing?
B, what's going on?
That's
B. Hold on, KG. I'm gonna let you finish, but B, I want to hear your response after this.
He's won everything, and he's gonna be available. He's gonna be like, cause again, like when you're starting up from new, those guys haven't won anything, right? What's the first thing you need? You need to go find some winners. If you want to build a winning culture, right? That's the first thing you have to build a culture. So you got to go out and find a couple of very senior. Look at how City started. So when City first got that influx of money, right? What were they doing? They were spending on a bunch of young, super. I don't even know what you'd call them. But then after a while, they kind of changed their focus. So who became? Well, I know company ended up becoming the captain himself. But before the first era, when they went out and started getting guys like Tevez, and they started finding players who had previously won in their previous opportunities, right? They maybe have been a little bit older. They weren't at the top of the market, but they were winners. That's how they transformed their culture.
B, do you think the Garrett Cahill reference? Do you think it has anything to do with the Chelsea argument, or why do you think you shook your head when he mentioned Gary Cahill? What's going on?
Because that's a suicide. That's nonsense. Like it's not even. It's fairly simple. You are one Newcastle right now. Probably want to go try the takeover. While Gary Cahill was on Chelsea, he went to another. I think he was at Crystal Palace or one of those clubs. Gary Cahill legs are finished. It's not Gary Cahill in his prime of his career. It's Gary Cahill right now. The guy is in football years. The guy is 149 years old. The guy is finished. Why would they need him? Right? The thing that he said, which was correct, was them where he referred to Manchester City, right? And what they were doing, remember they tried they got Rabi. Those are the guys that was so they tried to get the superstars first, and they get an okay coach. What Newcastle needs to do, Newcastle needs to go get a top quality coach that has experience in the league. Right? That should be like I think they should go get someone like a Pochettino because Pochettino is a top quality coach and he has experience in the league.
That would be a but nah B Pochettino nah.
Okay.
I,
Newcastle is about to be the richest team in England. They are
Crystal.
a big fan base. Right? So when you get a coach like that, him, Pochettino, can draw other top quality players to call. You go get, think about it. You go get Gary Cahill and go tell someone in South America, okay, we're building a new project. My first signing, we have a whole lot of money, is Gary Cahill. Those guys in Argentina going to look at you and say, who is that? You think no one know who Gary Cahill is outside of England? And guy he's almost 50. The guy probably have a walking stick. They need a coach. That's the first thing. That's why if you look at it, Manchester City was winning, but Manchester City is a completely different club with Pep. There's winning and winning with Pep.
Okay.
Because now they have structure, they have system, they buy players that fit in their system. They were just buying players. Those guys buy Colo Toure. So even though they were winning, they were making a lot of mistakes because they didn't have a vision. They were just trying to buy players. And you buying a Gary Cahill is the same thing. You just buying players, buy players.
So KG, the idea, the Pochettino idea. Now that B kind of explained it, it's crazy enough that it just might work.
No. Hold on. Let me. First of all, he's talking about Gary Cahill and where he is. He's at Crystal Palace, number one.
Yeah, he's at Crystal Palace.
Number two, in the league, right? Where do you think they stand defensively? He's their starting center back. Where do you think they stand defensively in the league? Crystal Palace. See? Now, again.
KG, you just looked it up. Don't act like you didn't just look it up. So
because again, I've watched them play. Again, if you watch how Roy Hudson plays, you need an organizer. Because Newcastle aren't going to go from where they are now and the style that they play in one transfer window to playing some beautiful, free flowing, great football, right? So you have to look at what do you need to transition your squad from where you are now to where you want to go. They're not going to all of a sudden go and get fucking they're not going to go and get Van Dyke all of a sudden. Like that's not an option for them, right? They have to look at where they are, the squad of players that they are, and realistically, they have to start to build piece by piece. They're not going to become PSG. The league is too competitive. They're not in a position to go and get these top quality players. So realistically, from where they are, that's a huge upgrade, and that provides leadership, that provides stability, and they're going to be playing a low block regardless of how they play. You're not going to get a coach that's going to come in there playing this free-flowing football because that shit will get them relegated quick.
But KG Pochettino, he's known for building. He's a building coach, right? So when he was playing when he was at Tottenham, he actually had the opportunity to build Tottenham into what it is now. Mourinho, he's been there for less than a year, so we can't necessarily give Mourinho all the credit for where they're at right now, even though it's in a rough spot. But Pochettino has been revered as a coach that can build and attract players. Do I think Pochettino will take it? Well, if there's money, why not? Right? If there's an influx of money coming in, then why would I not take it? He loves the Premier League. He loves the Premier League, right? So he doesn't. He wanted to coach for Manchester United. Things are kind of up in the air right now, so he has the opportunity to go to Newcastle and build something. He can build it. He can basically mold Newcastle into what if he wants to go get Cahill, which he won't, but he can basically mold Newcastle into whatever it is that he wants it to be. You know what I mean? So that could be a good move. But B, you didn't. So you said he needs a coach. We need a coach. And KG, you're saying they need a what? Because I know you don't mean Cahill.
They need to establish a winning culture because a coach can't come in and there's very few coaches who can come in and transform a culture. The culture has to be there, and it has to be with the players. Because a coach can come in, doesn't matter how good you are. If the culture of the club is rotten and shitty, i.e. Arsenal, it doesn't matter who you bring in as your manager. Like your club is gonna fail.
Okay.
The perfect example. It doesn't matter who their manager is right now. They have to gut it from inside out. So Arsenal would be another club that would be good to pick up Gary Cahill. They're only one point away in the table too.
B, what do you comments on that?
Okay, so first thing, let me just make sure I say this because I see where this is going. People losing, so they're trying to go for they're trying to go for the
Losing
Arsenal
what?
belt, but no, we're not gonna. People getting battered, so we're not gonna go for the Arsenal belt right now. Let's just say this outright. Gary Cahill. Gary Cahill is not the reason why Crystal Palace have a good defense. That's nonsense. Okay? It's not Gary Cahill. He's not the reason why that is happening. The reason why there's one that has been consistent with Crystal Palace and then staying up in the league and then playing the same type of football, and that's the manager, Roy Hodgson. Okay? If Gary Cahill was that good, why was he on Chelsea bench drowning at one point? Happening. Gary Cahill probably cannot start at Newcastle right now. If Newcastle is a top quality coach, because the top quality coach, and yes, the coach will go there because it's money. Same thing with Manchester City. You think Manchester City was any good? Manchester City was just an average club, but they have money. So because you have money, you're going to draw players. You're not going to get all the big players, but because of money, players will come. Like how players go to China. You would draw players, but the best thing is not to go get a player first. The best thing is to go get a top quality manager, because the manager in place the structure, and then he can now pick and say, okay, these are the players that I'm looking for. These are the players. He's probably not going to get all the first choice players that he's looking for, but he's going to get players that's similar to the player that he's looking for, and they will come because everyone is attracted to money. Is it the players who went to Manchester City for the first time was going there because they love Manchester? It's because of the money that they were given. And
Okay,
because they
hold
were
on.
paying them 2 and 2 over on their wages. Gary Cahill, I am better than Gary Cahill right now.
That's crazy because remember, the last. So you're saying he was rotting on Chelsea's bench. What year? What was his last year at Chelsea, and what was Chelsea's?
That's your team, KG. We don't know anything about all of those questions that you're asking.
So his last year at Chelsea under Conte, Chelsea were the league champions. Do you know that? Do you remember that? Oh yeah. So hold on. Let me go back to quiet. Let me finish. I let you talk. See, this is what I'm saying. Let me finish. Let me finish my point.
Hold on, B. Let him hold on to that comment, B. Make a statement, KG. Make a point.
Okay. So again, you said it yourself, right? So Gary Cahill, when he was on Chelsea's bench, was still better than probably 90% of the defenders in the Premier League. We were the Premier League, running away the Premier League champions. You made that argument yourself. You just spent the last 20 minutes making that argument, right? So you said at the top quality clubs, which Chelsea were the Premier League champions that season, correct? Yes, they were. Their bench is better than 90% of the other players. You just said it yourself. So the fact that you're discrediting him for being on the Chelsea bench, you can't have it both ways. Like your argument, you just argued against your previous argument you just made yourself. So one of the two things doesn't add up, bro. Like your argument,
all right.
It doesn't make any sense. It does not make
So
any sense.
Is that what the case was, B?
What happened? I caught you in a little lie because
what lie?
Hold on, KG. Hold on.
What lie?
You try to, and I'm gonna tell you what you try to do. You try to make an argument for Gary Cahill when he was under Conte, and then you double back on the bench, which is what I said at the beginning. That at one point he was rotting on the bench at Chelsea, and Gary Cahill, let me just say this, all right. I don't know how we end up talking about Gary Cahill. That's the first thing. Because he's not even that good. He wasn't even that good of a player. But fine. Gary Cahill is not better than 95% of no defender. That's nonsense. Stop it. That's the same thing when you tell me about David Luiz, when you were saying David Luiz at Chelsea was a world-class player. You're doing this thing where you think the players at Chelsea are so superior. That is where the issue is, because I can turn and say, okay, even though he's a Chelsea player, he's a top quality player. But if the player don't play for Chelsea, he's no good. But you see, everyone that plays for Chelsea walk on a water for you. Gary Cahill was never special, bruh. Gary Cahill used to play for Bolton. Calm down. There's a reason why he had to. I think he run down his contract. I went to Crystal Palace. He's not the reason why Crystal Palace is a good defense. It's because that's Roy Hodgson. They could take out Gary Newman in that position. Take out Gary Cahill and go put Ian Newman, and those guys are just the same in terms of defense. That's because you have a top quality coach that has a system and they play a low back. Don't come with that nonsense, man. Stop doing that, bro. I can't believe we're gonna spend 30 minutes talking about Gary Cahill. Are you serious?
He's in the Chelsea. He's in the Chelsea all decade. He's in the Chelsea all decade team.
That don't mean
not a single. I don't
mean anything.
That's why it's weird. I don't discuss players with Arsenal fans.
We need to.
Those guys, like, name a defender that has been at Arsenal in the past decade that's better than Gary Cahill.